Okay, so the Iron Dome's just intercepted a missile there. It's pretty interesting to see it actually working the way it should do. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan and I'm a former commando from the United Kingdom, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Israel-Hamas conflict. More in particular, a headline that I've been reading on ground.news: Israel Defense Force says Hamas hides rockets in playgrounds and swimming pools. So there's been a lot of there's 26 articles written on this on ground.news, where there's multiple sources stating pretty much the same thing, that Hamas have been hiding their weaponry and munitions within youth centres and schools and all sorts. So I want to delve deep into that today, guys. But before we do, we're going to get into a bit of a map study and see what's been going on the ground. Welcome. So guys, before we get into it, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It really does help me to grow on YouTube and get the message out there, okay? So that Iron Dome interception happened about 30 minutes ago, but what we're going to do is we're going to go back for about 8 hours or so and work our way from that, guys. So literally 4 minutes ago in the South Gaza Strip, the first group of Canadians were evacuated into Egypt. Now, there's been a lot of talks over the past week or so with regards how that's going to happen, because the Rafah crossing effectively is it's been quite difficult to get things in. It's been even more difficult getting the right people out. There's been a number of talks taking place with Egypt wanting or not wanting to take Palestinian refugees and stuff. So this area is quite a hot topic. It has also been targeted, guys, quite a number of times by Israel, okay, the IDF, and a lot of these places that I'm looking at right now, this mosque, for instance, it wasn't too far away, too long ago, that indirect fire was placed within this area. Okay, so the area itself is quite dangerous, and that goes without saying. But the first group of Canadians were actually evacuated out there, which is good to know, guys. Rocket sirens sounding in Ashdod. So Ashdod is obviously it's basically a sand dune area, okay, typical beach area right next to Nishtanim Beach. So there's been plenty of rocket sirens happening in this area. If we look in depth on the map, there's been 3, 4, 5, about 6 of those rocket sirens, and that's up to date as of 6 minutes ago, guys. So anyway, Paris announced the evacuation of more than 100 French people from the Gaza Strip. Again, this is in conjunction with the Canadians. So foreign or dual nationals are getting the hell out of there, guys. So they'll be very, very pleased to know that. Those 100 French people will have some stories to tell. That's 100%. If they've got family within this area, granted, they'll have been directly affected possibly from that. So it's good and bad news, isn't it, guys? These guys are getting out there safe and secure, but yeah, the torment isn't over. Let's put it that way. 18 minutes ago, Israeli army says more than 20 rockets were fired from Lebanon, and now they were directed at northern Israel. Troops have been responding with artillery fire. So if we look at these areas that they're talking about, guys, that is the actual northeastern area of this border that we've spoke about quite a few times. You can see this border here annotated via yellow. This yellow strip all the way across goes down. Then it's the UN 2000 blue line effectively. Then it pops all the way up here, up and around, Lebanon being on the border there. So this is the area in detail where the Israeli army says 20 rockets were fired into northern Israel. This is happening on a day-to-day basis now. The Israeli troops are responding with artillery fire. How effective that artillery fire is, it's not actually mentioning on this map, but you can bet your bottom dollar that it's doing what it needs to do, okay? Artillery fire, if you're in the line of it, isn't nice, trust me. Ground.news is the area, is the website that I use to get pretty much all of my information for this conflict specifically at this moment in time. Ground.news is a fantastic app, website. You can use it on your phone or your mobile. Israeli Defense Force says Hamas hides rockets in playgrounds and swimming pools. Now, upon looking into this, what you can do on this website is it tells you how many sources are actually covered for this initial report. Now we can see here there's 26 articles at the moment with similar, with literally comparing this. What you can do is you can check out its bias distribution, okay? 73% of the sources pertaining to this are right-leaning. So you can get a better understanding of the information, and you can make your own judgment off that, okay? If we look at these titles here, we can see that the titles are slightly different as well. Israel-Hamas war updates. Israel says video shows Hamas rocket launches in Gaza Youth Center. Now this one is slightly different, okay? It says it was a Boy Scout center, mosque in Gaza. So you get a chance to be able to decipher this information yourself. It is my go-to for news right now. Go check it out, ground.news. It is absolutely fantastic. Make sure to go check out ground.news. Link is in the description, guys. If you subscribe via the link provided, you will get a discount as well. There's a special offer on right now. Make sure you check it out. It really helped me supporting the channel, and also it gets you the best information out there, okay? Go check it out. It is a fantastic website. Now, the Israeli army targets sites in southern Lebanon that as a direct result of the mortar fire and artillery strikes that they've been receiving across that border, okay, troops. So a lot happening on this border. I did say about a week ago that this is one of the most dangerous borders on the world right now. What a lot of people say, no, it's not, but it continues to grow day by day. You know, the amount of things that are happening here, it is intensifying. Are we going to see Lebanon creeping into this war? If we do, then we're obviously talking about Hezbollah as well. And by creeping into this war, what I mean is they've already got a foot through the door, haven't they? How is this going to escalate further? Are we going to see full-blown war between the two? And if they get involved, we're talking about Iran, we're talking about Iraq, even the United Arab Emirates and Saudi have been talking, okay? So this has potential to spill out into a global war pretty quickly. A lot of people don't think so, but that's what I think. Israeli media say that 4 missiles were intercepted that were targeting the north of the country and landed in an open area. So again, these are the Lebanon strikes that keep on pushing through to the northern Israel and past and beyond the northern Israel border. Okay, we can see here the direct results of those artillery and missile strikes, guys. So that Iron Dome interception was in and around here as well, that we watched at the beginning of the video. Israeli positions in the Golan were targeted with missiles, and Iron Dome carried out interception operations throughout the region in the eastern sector. Again, that's near the Nevativ area, just to the east of that point, and the Nimrod Fortress National Park westward. So that's what it looks like, guys. Okay, you see again the usual sights of explosions going off. Luckily, I say luckily, I'm not living there, so it's easy for me to say that. But you can see the area is not really densely populated, thank goodness. About 45 minutes ago, time of recording, rocket sirens sounded in the North Golan Heights, northern Galilee. Israel Major General who commands the South Command says the Israeli army is in the heart of Gaza, doing their thing. It's quite busy there now, guys. A lot more happening within the Gaza city center. We can see that there's a lot more destruction from Hamas, and there's a lot more retaliation strikes from the IDF. What has Biden got to say? Now, if we go to the White House here in the United States of America, he says we will not accept Israel's reoccupation of Gaza after eliminating Hamas. He says that, but does he actually mean it? Now, it didn't take a brain box to understand that that's what they want anyway, okay? This whole operation, yes, get Hamas out of the way, eliminate Hamas. It's how long that's going to take, only God knows. But someone's going to have to provide security to the area, and I think by providing security to the area post Hamas elimination, that's effectively them militarily occupying that land. So they're getting what they wanted anyway, if you think about it, the expansion of their country into the whole of the Gaza Strip. you know. So what do you see happening with this? I see personally them taking out Hamas. I see them doing a pretty good job of it, albeit the collateral damage is needless and it's horrendous and it should never happen. And then I see them taking over the occupied parts of Gaza with their own security forces, providing security, effectively taking over the land, okay? And I don't see them giving that up anytime soon afterwards, all right? Effectively, once they've occupied that area, I think that's going to be all she wrote. So, you know, Biden says we will not accept Israel's reoccupation of Gaza. What's he going to do about it? What is Biden actually going to do about it? I don't think he's going to do jack shit, personally. So, yeah, you can say that, but that's what's happening. We need to see something else in place other than Biden just getting his head down and saying that, you know, we're not going to accept it. Well, it's happening right before our very eyes. Bombing of agricultural land in the Al-Sattar Al-Gabri area in Khan Yunis. That's, you know, it's just southward of the centre of Gaza. This is what that looks like. Now we are talking a bit more residential, okay? These buildings have families occupying them. Not a lot of bad guys in this picture from what I can see, but when we get into our next segment, we understand where Hamas are actually harbouring most of their weaponry. It's a cruel, cruel thing because they're using the Palestinian people as effectively human shields, guys, okay? But we've known that since the beginning of the war. It's not fair. It's not ethical. Zero morality involved in this, but we're talking about Hamas, aren't we? Stricken in Khan Yunis, strikes in Khan Yunis that we see here in detail. A lot of these areas, urban, populated, loads of stuff going on here, guys. Not too far away from that. We had 20 killed and dozen wounded in an Israeli raid on a residential building in Khan Yunis. So the residential building, it's saying it's right next to an old cemetery. Okay. 20 killed and dozens wounded in an Israeli raid. So let's have a look at this. Zoom out a little bit. Let me get my trusted pen. So we've effectively got this whole area as an old cemetery. Residential building. The only residential building I can see very, very close to this is these areas here, just to the north of Saladin and just to the south of the cemetery area as well. We've got a plumbing supply store. We've got a mosque here as well. We've seen this time and time again, guys, that we've stated residential buildings have been targeted when in actual fact, you know, some of the areas that have been targeted have actually been places of worship and stuff. So this whole area here is the area in which they said they struck. But the only residential areas I see is these ones here, like I say, and potentially these ones here. Okay, south of that courtyard area. But it's that block, isn't it? Now we've got a mosque here. This could be a residential area, but there's a bakery. So, yeah, it's not very apparent where it is. I mean, there's nothing happening within the cemetery anyway. Everyone's passed there anyway. So my idea is they've probably hit these houses here. But this raid will have been targeted. Obviously, there's a mosque there potentially. So what does that mean? Well, we understand that Hamas have been harbouring weapon systems within these mosques. So there's potential for that as well. Got another mosque here. But quite a few mosques actually in around this area. Yeah, so this might not be too accurate, but 20 killed within a residential building is quite a big thing, that, guys. Okay, let's not pretend otherwise. So apart from that, strikes, multiple casualties in a new Israeli bombing that threatened a house in Deir Bala. Yeah, so these buildings are just getting smashed. New Israeli raids on several areas in Gaza. This is right next to Palestine Square. Now that one is very close to a mosque. I do suspect that a lot of these mosques are potentially targets because of the fact that they have been harbouring weaponry and munitions there. But, you know, you shouldn't be taking out places of worship, guys, right? Palestinian sources report heavy ground clashes near the Friendship Sports Club in the Shati camp in Gaza. So, yeah, so we're fighting literally on the streets now. reports of rocket fire towards Mount Hermon from Syria. The Ministry of Interior in Gaza, all bakeries in the northern Gaza governorates have stopped working completely due to the targeting of some of them and the lack of flour and fuel in others. So that's interesting, that, because we've seen these residential areas where some of these raids have been taking place. Actually, there's bakeries and stuff that they're talking about. So it's not just places of worship. We're talking bakeries are being targeted as well, which is bloody outrageous. Okay, you're taking away the food supply for these people, but that we need to remember what the original operation was classified as. It was classified as a siege of this area. All right, and a siege in all respects means you literally it goes back thousands of years. What a siege is, you are taking control of an area, whether or not you're within that area or not. You are controlling all points and points of exit, which we've seen at the Rafah crossing, pretty much surrounding the place with your military, and you're starving the people from the inside out. And whilst that's happening, you're putting more pressure on, and in this case, airstrikes, mortar strikes, artillery strikes, affecting the local populace. So you're actually sickening them, making them really, really against what's happening, and demoralizing the people who have nothing to do with it, quite frankly. And what happens is, over time, the people's spirit gets dragged out of them. They get weaker. They get, again, demoralized, and that's when you start hitting, okay? When the food it runs out, when the morale is down, when you've taken some key targets out with, in this case, the airstrikes, and then you just surround, okay? You starve them from the inside out. So I think that's what we need to remember here with this. This whole operation was initially classified as effectively a siege of this area. What happens after the siege? You go in, you push through, you take out who you need to take out after you've starved them from the inside out, quite literally, and then you provide security for this area. Whole point of a siege is to basically take over an area, isn't it? So that's what's going on, man. Okay, so 3 hours ago, Al-Qassam Brigade says we are ready to release foreign detainees, but the field situation hinders this from being done. We can actually see that a lot of those, not detainees, but people are being allowed safe passage through the Rafah crossing. I know there's Canadians and Americans, as we mentioned earlier. But this whole area is obviously still quite difficult. But the Al-Qassam Brigade says the field situation hinders this from being done. I'm guessing they're talking about, the dangers of the strikes and things like that are taking place. The Israeli army launched new security operation in the city of Jenin in the West Bank. So a new operation is taking place there. They're calling it a security operation. So maybe this is the start of the security takeover within certain areas. Israeli army intercepted a suspicious aerial target at the northern border and attacked in Lebanon in response to anti-tank missiles fired at an outpost. Again, troops, this whole area has always been an area of interest. Lebanon and Hezbollah doing their thing, which negatively impacts the war, I believe, and certainly doesn't help the innocent people of Palestine. That's what this looks like. Israeli army demolished building next to the Sheikh Hamad hospital in Gaza. Absolutely obliterated there. Israel Defense Force, although Hamas continues to undermine the ongoing humanitarian efforts on your behalf and uses you as human shields, today the Israel Defense Force will once again allow passage of the Saladin Road between 10 a.m. and 1400. So we've got about 4 hours safe passage there. For your safety, take the next opportunity to move south beyond the Wadi Gaza. So there is safe passage for people to do that, but you've got to understand this is a place in conflict. Okay, you've got families and stuff scared to death to even leave their homes, so you can't blame them for not wanting to. Troops, okay, you really can't. Israel Defense Force. Yeah, I mean, you can't moan when that safe passage is being allowed, but at the same time, I don't think it's enough, guys. I really don't. I don't think people are going to take the bait and just move, especially when Hamas is operating in these areas and they don't care about their own people anyway. So they've got threats from both sides, haven't they? Strikes from Israel and obviously repercussions from Hamas as well. It's easier said than done just to get to safe haven, guys. Strikes in Sheikh Zayed neighborhood in Gaza cities. That's what it looks like. Got some photographs here. Normal areas, again, people having to put up with this day in, day out, night in, night out. Israeli raid 7 hours ago targets homes on Cairo Street in Talahawa neighborhood. Again, these neighborhoods are being raided. Why? Well, obviously you've got key targets within these neighborhoods. They have to live somewhere. They're not living on the streets, and this is what's happening, guys. They're literally getting targeted and taken out by the Israeli raids. Now, these raids, what happens is normally what should happen is the areas are obviously softened up with mortar fire, potentially airstrikes, very, very targeted airstrikes, or at least there should be. And then shortly after, the troops move in. We see this area itself is right next to the beach and seaside. So whether or not we're seeing like marine type soldiers utilized in these raids, I'd probably guess so, just because of how close it is there. We're looking at 3, 6, 9, about 1,200 feet from beach to this residential area, okay? So yeah, possibly those individuals will be utilized, but then the troops move in, take out who they need to take out, if there's anything left of them, actually, because of the airstrikes that take place. But troops, that's about 7 hours ago. Please like, share, subscribe, and yeah, make sure to go and click on the link in the description, ground.news. Fantastic website for information. It's where I go and get my information these days. But yeah, thank you for supporting the channel. If you want to support it any further, then please become a member. It's only $1, I think, or like 80 cents. And yeah, do that, troops. I'll see you next time. Thank you.